Hi everyone, Gnev here. Welcome to my 3.3.5 DPS tier list. I went ahead and tried every DPS class and spec in the game and studied some old logs to make this list. The rankings on the list are based strictly on damage, not on how much they contribute to the raid, just pure DPS. So without further ado, let's begin. To start the list off, we have Beast Mastery Hunter. Is it fun running around with a big T-Rex? Yes. Is it fun doing shit damage on an almost best in slot hunter? Definitely not. This might be the best spec to play when you're 3k gear score, but it just doesn't scale well with gear. Every DPS spell you do have is just better on a marksmanship hunter. Non-viable. While getting clips for this video, I entered Halls of Reflection on my warrior as arms, and I was shocked at how much fun I had and how much damage it actually did. I almost didn't want to leave. However, the truth hit me that I would just do double the damage as Fury. It is unfortunate that you can't whirlwind on ghouls on an LOD fight, but hey, truth hurts. C. Moonkin is one of my favorite classes to play in the game, and even if I sometimes finish first on an LOD fight, I have to be honest with you, its single target is just not the best. The only fights the Doomkin excels at are Lady Deathwhisper and the Lich King. Unfortunately, I have to give Doomkin an A. I never played Assassination before making this video, and I was really surprised at just how fun it is. Most rogues play combat, and I can't say that I've ever seen an Assassination rogue dominate the DPS charts, but logs say that they are one of the best DPS classes in the game. I guess I just haven't met any good ones. Essa gets an S. What can I say about Feral that I haven't already said in my top 5 most fun classes and specs to play video? Yeah, Feral is really hard to play, but it's incredibly satisfying and it hits really hard. If you can get a hysteria from your blood decay while you're berserking, you won't want to stop playing the game ever. S. Blood might be the best spec to tank with if you also put points in your improved Icy Talons talent, but it's just shit to DPS with, and everybody who tells you otherwise is just delusional. The only fun thing about the spec is that you can throw Hysteria on yourself, but it's kind of a waste since you don't do any damage. C. I really don't like playing Marksmanship Hunter. Yeah, it can do damage. Yeah, you have a pet, but damn do you also have a lot of responsibilities. You have to misdirect, you have to dispel rage on shambling horrors. You have to throw traps on Valitria and Sourfang. You have to hit orbs on Princess. You can never relax and enter DPS Nirvana. Even with me not liking it, MM just does tons of damage, so it gets an S. Now here's a spec where you don't have any responsibilities, other than throwing out a few sunders and cleaving away. Fury is an amazing spec, and it does incredible damage with Shadowmourne. It's one of the classes that stacks best with gear. If you play it decently on an LOD fight, you're automatically first on SCADA, and it also has the second best or best single target DPS in the game. Just an amazing spec. SS. I never played Survival before making this video, and again I was surprised at how fun it was to play. However, this list isn't about fun, and the fact is that it does shit DPS. A melee hunter just doesn't work, Blizzard. Non-viable. Frost was amazing when Wrath of the Lich King got released. It did really good damage, but just didn't scale that well with gear. It can still pull off some really nice numbers, mostly on single target, and it's a really fun spec to play, but it just gets outclassed by some of the other specs on this list. Frost DK gets a B. I haven't played combat that much, and I generally don't like rogues, but I can't talk shit about their damage. Even though they have one of the simplest rotations in the game, their single target and AoE DPS is amazing. If you have a really good rogue in your guild and if he gets Hysteria, you'll see what I'm talking about. SS. Now for the Frost Mage. It may look really fun to play, and it is in PvP, but unfortunately it just doesn't do any damage in PvE. You might think from the clip that I'm showing that it can do damage, but it falls off super hard when you don't have cooldowns. With a tear in my eye, I say Frost is non-viable. Unholy is one of those specs that shines on just a few fights. Their single target really isn't that good, but they are beasts at the Lich King fight. Now many Unholy DKs hoard their damage by renewing Pestilence before the Valkyries go up in the air, and by spreading their diseases on the Valkyries above the Lich King so their numbers will be a little bit higher than their useful damage. Unholy gets an A. My main spec. This is the class with which I started playing the game, and I couldn't have made a better choice. They have, together with Fury Warriors, the best single target damage in the game. With Fire Mage you excel at every fight in ICC, and you have no responsibilities outside of doing crazy DPS. Fire Mage is the best. SS. I spoke a bit about Affliction Warlock in my top 5 most fun specs to play in the game, and everything I said there still stands. They have a really high skill ceiling, meaning you can always improve on your play, and they do crazy DPS with that. The Kings of the Execution phase get an S. The Arcane Dream. Known for their crazy high burst damage, Arcane Mages were really good at the start of the expansion, but Fire just stacked better with gear. Yeah, you can pull off crazy numbers at the start of the fight, but Arcane Mages just can't hold their DPS in long fights. They also run out of mana quite easily and would be impossible to play efficiently on the Lich King fight, which lasts longer than 15 minutes. Demo Warlocks are usually brought to the raid for their spell power buff, so many people just don't try hard when playing them. That being said, Demonology can pump out some really serious damage. Their burst is insane with the demon form immolation aura, and their execution phase is really good as well. Unfortunately, Demo just can't compete with some of the other classes on the list. They get a B. Enha is one of the most fun and complex specs to play in the game. They are really hard to pull off, and everyone thinks I'm gonna be the one that's gonna do crazy damage with Enha, but no one ever does. It is unfortunate that it is so in regards to how much effort goes into playing them, but Enha gets a C. Shadow Priests are mostly overlooked in the raid. Yeah, they can pull off some really solid damage, and yes, they bring a lot of passive healing to the raid, but other classes just do more. They are usually the unspoken heroes of the raid, contributing more than people give them credit for. Shadow Priests get an A. Everybody wanted Destruction to be really strong. The animation for Chaos Bolt is hypnotic to look at, and it's a shame that they just don't do damage. They can be pretty strong in arena, but unfortunately are really overlooked in PvE. Their older brothers, Demonology and Affliction, just do more. Destruction gets a D. If you decide to make a shaman and foolishly decide to play Ele or Enha, you'll be met with so much backlash that you'll either immediately re-roll to restoration or just delete your shaman. Don't get me wrong, Ele looks really cool and they're really fun to play, but they just don't do damage. Ele gets a C. Retribution Paladin. Why do kids always decide to play a red paladin? We might never know. Contrary to their reputation, there are some amazing Retribution Paladins out there that can dish out tons of damage. Paired with the support they provide to the raid, Retries aren't to be messed around with. S tier. Subtlety, similarly to a Frost Mage, is a strictly PvP spec. They are made to fuck with people with their crazy amounts of CC, but their DPS can really be worked on. Stick to Hellfire Peninsula. Non-viable. That's it for my list. Did you enjoy it? Consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.